I'm going to talk about Orbital Energy Group, stock symbol OEG. The stock is trading at $2.19. I have been following this stock since it was $1.49 a couple of weeks back, and there has been a lot of momentum in the stock. What I'm going to talk about is what's the latest about this stock, what the company does, what are the plans for the company in future. They have some momentum in gaining a lot more revenue in upcoming quarter. They also regained the nasdaq compliance. So I'm going to talk about some good stuff, so watch the full video. Also, it took me a while to do the research, so hit the like button below and subscribe to my channel for future videos. That I am not a financial advisor, and this is not a financial advice to buy and sell stocks. So do your own due diligence and research before you buy or sell any stock or Orbital Energy Group. I do believe that there's some risk about OEG, but there's always risk in buying and selling stocks. So it depends upon your own individual investment strategy and what's going on with your portfolio at the moment. But I think that I'm going to buy a small position in OEG next week if I get around $2. And I'll tell you why I'm going to do that. OEG is trading at $2.19 right now, and the close was $2.35. Previous close was $2.35. The average volume is usually 126,000 shares. However, lately it spiked up to almost 9 million. That's a pretty small company with the market cap of 66.62 million. 1 year target from the analysts is $2.25. Stock was down 6.81%. Now, first of all, what is OEG, what the company does, and what is the history and background of the stock? There's a lot going on with this company. Orbital Energy Group, nasdaq symbol OEG, was formerly known as CUI Global Incorporation, and that was it was creating a diversified infrastructure service platform through the acquisition and development of innovative companies. So if you can think about Orbital Energy Group is a business that deals with orbital gas, power, renewable energy, and solar energy. Orbital gas systems, orbital power services, and orbital solar services has a 30 years of background and history. They are one of the leader in innovative gas solutions, services offering into the energy, power, and processing of the industrial gas sampling, measurement, and delivery systems. One of the exciting things about this company is they are a lot more into the renewable energy. Orbital Solar Services provides engineering, procurement, and construction expertise in renewable energy for the industries, and they have established the relationship with the solar developers and solar panel developers. So Orbital Energy Group is a publicly traded company dedicated to maximize shareholder value by acquisition and development of the innovative company. And as I mentioned, it was known as CUI Global in the past, and they recently announced the new name that I'll talk more about in a minute. In terms of Orbital Power is emerging leader in the electrical utility space sector, providing services for construction and maintenance of high voltage transmission, substations, and distribution. Orbital Power Services provides turnkey services including project management, support, material procurement, and management. The company is around since 1998, and they have gone through a lot in the past. CUI Global announces the name change to Orbital Energy Group and the new ticker symbol OEG. The new name reflects for the company's transformation to a diversified energy and infrastructure solutions platform. They're based in Houston. This was announced in May 2020. CUI Global Inc. announced it will change its name to Orbital Energy Group, OEG, effective immediately. The new name reflects the company's strategic repositioning to become a diversified energy infrastructure company. And since then, they have been acquiring a lot more new avenues of revenue. One more thing I also want to share is they've recently regained the nasdaq compliance. Orbital Energy Group OEG has regained the compliance with the minimum bid requirement of continued listing on the nasdaq capital market for the last 11 consecutive business days from November 20th through December 7th. The closing bid price of company's common stock has been at $1 per share or greater, which is why they regained. And there is a little bit of more context around this, or maybe it might be a coincidence as to when it happened. It was announced on December 2nd, 2020, but Orbital Power Services signed MSA with the Midwestern investor-owned utility, and they're expecting to increase the forward-looking revenue by 30%. As you can see here, Orbital Energy Group Incorporation announced today that its wholly owned transmission and distribution (T&D) division, Orbital Power Services, has signed a master service agreement with a Midwestern investor-owned utility. The MSA is expected to generate significant recurring monthly revenue beginning in the fourth quarter of 2020, and it increased the T&D division's revenue by approximately 30% on an annualized basis. Let's look at the revenue in general for the company quarter over quarter. In Q3, the revenue was $13.62 million with the net income of negative $3.2 million. And their definitely net profit margin was in negative 23.52% with operating income of negative $6.32 million. Now cash on hand, $4.06 million with the cost of revenue of $11.26 million. Now, if you think about 30% additional revenue for the company quarter over quarter, we'll be able to increase the revenue in general. The net income that is negative will be decreased, or it might be in positive territory as well, or close to positive. And it may help them keeping more cash on hand. This is one of the red flag to me as well, because they don't have enough cash on hand. And I'll share more as to why they won't run out of cash anytime soon. It has at least 12 months leeway before the company runs out of cash on hand. Let's take a look at the Q4 revenue in 2019. Their Q4 revenue was $5.7 million. That stayed steady in Q1 as well. 2020, the revenue was $5.7 million, $5.69 million. In Q2, the revenue was $7.7 million. And as I mentioned, that they signed this MSA master service agreement with the utility company that will bring in 1/3 of more revenue for them. Their cash and cash in hand was $23.35 million, with the cost of revenue was $4.22 because their revenue was pretty small at that point. If you see in Q1, sort of from Q4 to Q1, they have $1 more million in terms of cost of revenue, whereas the revenue remained pretty much flat. In Q2, they spent $6.73 million, whereas the revenue was $7.78 million. So they're spending a lot more money to generate more revenue, but this is a cash-heavy company because they'll have to acquire additional companies, and they're putting money into the growth of the acquisition and innovation. Given the nature of the company, they deal with energy. Now in Q3 is the meaty number, where the revenue is $13.62 million and their cost of revenue is $11.26 because they're still acquiring some businesses. But the thing to note is their net income dropped to negative $3.2 million, which was $9.33 million in Q2. So that's one of the things. So comparing Q2 and Q3, the biggest number that I could see is that revenue almost doubled up from $7.78 million to $13.62 million, and their net income, which was negative $9.33 million in Q2, which went to negative $3.2 million in Q3. Now, the cash on hand remained pretty steady 4.37 million and 4.06 million, more or less pretty steady. So the company is doing pretty okay. I'm not saying they're doing great because they're still at the risk of running out of money or cash on hand to operate. But I believe that the company is around since 1998, so they know hopefully how to operate with lower cash on hand. One more development I want to share, and this is one of the good thing, and decide for yourself if it's a good thing or bad thing, but Orbital Energy is under pressure on pricing 10 million registered direct offering. Their total bucket is 50 million of direct offering, but I think what they're trying to do is they are trying to make sure that balance sheet looks pretty okay. So they are going to offer this registered direct offering quarter by quarter, and they'll fill up the 50 million dollars bucket that they have announced in the past. So at the moment, Orbital Energy Group OEG entered into the security purchase agreement with the institutional investor for the purchase and the sale of 5.55 million shares at a purchase price of $1.80 per share in a registered direct offering. Now, this will close on and about January 5th, 2021. And given that the institutional buyer is buying this stock at $1.80, I believe that the stock may not go under $1.80, or it may. We don't know, time will say, so you do your own research as well, I wanted to say. But after this announcement, and this announcement was made on December 31st, and after even this announcement, as you can see, the stock was kind of steady. It did not go down. The day range for the stock was $1.80, and the highest price the stock was traded on 31st was $2.28. Now, as I mentioned, I was looking at I am following this stock since it was $1.49, and I almost thought $1.50 or $1.60, but I did not. But I do now believe that this might be a good time to buy this stock. The 1 year price target is $2.25. So let's say if you buy stock at around $2, and hopefully it'll go beyond this $2.25, and they'll have an updated 1 year target from the analysis that they're doing. But out of all three analysts, this stock is a not strong buy, but it's not a sell stock by the analyst review either. Analyst recommendation provided by FactSet shows that the consensus forecast for OEG is a buy. 3 analysts offering the recommendations to stock. No one has a rating to sell. Quarterly report on March 16, 2021, and earning per share for the current quarter is estimated to negative 16 cents, with the sales reaching 17.46 million over the same period, which means that their EPS is expected to grow by 36.4% this year, with quarterly earning will be posted 89.70% year over year, and quarterly sales are estimated to grow by 206% year over year in returns. And what all this suggests is company will have enough cash flow, company will have enough cash on hand to float around for next 12 months. If the revenue goes up, and if the stock is trading with higher volume than currently, I do believe that the stock could be doubled in 2021. Once again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is my personal opinion. What makes me think to believe in a company a little bit more is they have 27 institutions hold OEG shares, and 10.65% of the stocks are accounted for insiders, while the institutional investors hold 21.24% of company's share. The shares outstanding are 30.43 million, and float is 27 million, with the short float at 1%. So looking at all this, I believe that once again, this is a penny stock, and penny stock comes with their own risk. So you do your own research. It is up to you what you want to do. But I believe it's a $2 stock, and there is always a catalyst. If you look at BNGO, They are looking to get FDA approved, and if they're FDA approved, they could be $10. Same way here for OEG. If they expand, if they have enough cash to float, and if their MSA agreements are expanded further with additional utility companies, the stock is going to do pretty well. It will be at least more than what it is trading right now. Stock was trading mostly around $1. Then it went below $1, as I mentioned. They regained the compliance from nasdaq to stay afloat. Regained the compliance from nasdaq. If you take a look at their 5-year stock price, and I don't want to go to max because it might be misleading data, but in 2018 the stock was $275. In 2019 the stock was $1.25. So it went lower and lower, and after the reconstruction of the company, it might have potential to go higher, especially they bring in more revenue. Now the stock was trading at $6.65. So in that sense, if the company does well, it can go back to maybe like it can be doubled or tripled. That's what all I'm trying to say. So this might be a good buy for penny stock in 2021 for you, and I wanted to share it with you all. I hope 2021 will be the biggest year ever. 2020 was a great year. It was tough, but a good year, at least from the investing standpoint, and I wish you all a bigger success in 2021. Thanks all for watching. Once again, click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon.